How do you think all these tools actually generate answers? Be it ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok. We use these pretty much every day in our systems. How do you think these tools actually generate answers, right? A would be, let's say they understand questions like we do when we talk to each other humans. Second is probably they search the entire internet and then copy that information and provide it to us. They predict, patterns in the language, and based on that, they give us training data. Based on their training data, or they retrieve, answers like Google has a massive database storage. Can you please put it in chat, A, B, C, D, what you feel, so that we understand, what is your understanding of how these tools actually, give you answers. A, D, everybody, please participate. Let us understand, what we think today and where we will be in the future lectures. B, that's very nice. C, I get D. A, I'm getting a few D's, A's again, D again. C and D, C, based on coding 0 and 1. Very nice. I would recommend everybody to participate, please. It would be a great understanding. Great. We see A's, a lot of A's. If we have to download all this, we'll answer that, Sunil. We might not need to download all of them. We might use it on the browsers. We see a lot of C's, A's, A, B, C, D. Very nice. B, all of the above, A, B, C, D. Interesting. C, we get a lot of C's. We are getting a lot of A's. We are getting a lot of people doing MCQs, A, B, C, D, all of them together. Very nice. D. All right. It's good to see that, everybody is participating. This will keep the session much more interactive, much more enjoyable. We will learn a lot together. Awesome. So we'll actually, answer this a bit later once we go through first few slides. It will help us understand how AI works. It will help us understand how these LLMs actually give us answers. So I'll reserve the answer for now, and we'll see if a few of you guys want to revisit your answers and change your answer in the coming part of the lecture. Let's come to part 2. Let's say, you see something in front of you which says, what is the capital of India? Or the capital of India is dash. What would be the answer that you would write? What would come next according to you? I think we should stop the ABCD answers and let's move to this. If you see something like this in front of you, the capital of India is dash. What would come in your mind? What would be, you filling in that dash? I see New Delhi. I see Delhi. I see Delhi again. New Delhi. Delhi. Very nice. Interesting. So if you notice the pattern, everybody is pretty much writing Delhi or New Delhi. If I may ask, why do you think everybody is able to answer that? The simple point being, we have all come across this data at one point or another, right? That is the reason the answer is very simple in front of us. And, our mind is directly telling us that the capital of India, this dash has to be Delhi or Union Territory of Delhi or New Delhi. Very nice, right? Now, when we say something like, dear team, please find attached the dash. What is the next word that comes in front of you? Or what is the next word that comes to your mind? If we write something like, dear team, please find attached the dash. File, I see file. I see document. I see an icon of a file. Very nice. Approval. Very nice. I see approval there. Very interesting answers. I see mail. I see a report. I see document again. I see a file again. Interesting. Now, if you look at what happened, right, in the previous question, everybody was writing Delhi, New Delhi, and Union Territory of Delhi was something which we saw, which is very interesting. And when we switch the question to please find attached the dash, answers are a bit more different, but all of them are right. Somebody says a file, somebody says a document, somebody says approval, somebody says depending on the attachment, right? Now, I got a very interesting answer which says depends on the attachment. Now, this is something you as a human mind has been able to comprehend that, please find attached dash, my answer would be dependent on the document that is attached on the email, right? But AI is not trained that way. We'll come to that. But as we see, a lot of people have written files, attachment, documents, report, right? So all of you can see an image on my screen where I have tried to type happy, and the next word on my WhatsApp is, being pushed. I'm being pushed to write birthday or holy, right? All of us would have tried this on our phones where we are writing something on WhatsApp and we are prompted probably the next word on our keyboard that this should be the next word that you type, right? Why does this happen? Can you just try it on your phone and tell me You must have seen this happy birthday, happy Holi, happy Diwali, things like that. Why does this happen? Big data, predictive texting, very nice. So I'm getting very technical answers. So this is really nice. It is predictive text, very nice. I see link, most searched, habit of daily typing, interesting. So basically your phone is understanding what you type daily. So if you wish somebody a happy birthday in a particular manner, and if you start typing that, automatically all the next words are being suggested to you, right? So this is basically your phone or keypad app predicting what is the next word basis the pattern that it has learned from your own interactions. So what I would see on my screen would be very different from what you would see on your screen, right? That is primarily because my way of typing, your way of typing, there is a bit difference, and your phone understands that, my phone understands my typing, and basically we get those kind of answers, right? Now, AI actually works exactly in a similar way. The only big difference is instead of my phone having only specific data which is related to me, your phone having specific data which is related to you, AI's data set or the data that underlying data that AI has is very huge. It is all the books which are ebooks available on the internet. It is all the websites which are available on the internet. It is all the conversations you see on Reddit, Quora, and platforms like that, which is available on the internet. All the blogs and articles which are available on the internet. All right. AI has access to all the public data available on the internet. Now, my phone had very specific data set, which is my typing. Your phone had very specific data set, but AI, the data set underlying is very huge. And what is happening actually is AI is continuously generating next word, next word, next word, and is able to actually predict the entire next paragraph, or probably accurately predict the entire next paragraph, the entire next sentence that should be given to the user, so that the question that the user is asking is correctly answered. All right. So what is happening actually when you type something in a ChatGPT or a Google Gemini or a Claude is, when you type an answer, right, it takes that context, it creates a word which is matching that context, or basically tries to find in this entire dictionary that it has or the data set that it has. It tries to find that word and tries basis the context to predict the next likely word. And after that next likely word is predicted, basis these two words and the context, it is again predicting the next word and the next word and the next word. So what is happening actually is AI is just continuously predicting basis the word that it has just predicted plus the context that you have, then again the word, again the word, and again the word. Basis all this, it is continuously generating a lot of sentences and paragraphs that we consume every day. All right. One very important thing to understand here is the conversation that we are having with AI, right? It is that context, it is that reference that is available with AI, basis which it is able to predict the next likely words. All right. Now, this context is temporary. When I say temporary, let's say you open a browser in an incognito mode and type something in ChatGPT, it would consider that as context. The moment you close that browser, close your incognito mode and come back again, the previous context is lost, right? However, when you do the same thing in a logged in account, the context is a bit more sustained. All right. Now, if you actually look at this entire thing that we spoke about in a very small sentence, we can actually say AI is nothing but autocomplete on steroids, right? It is actually autocomplete, which we see everywhere. Your brain was able to sense that Delhi should be the answer there. Your brain was able to sense some probabilities like file, document, report, attachment in that text box which we had in the second slide. Similarly, AI is able to autocomplete in a super fast pace, and you can simply say AI is nothing but autocomplete on steroids. Does that make sense to everybody? Can you give me a thumbs up in chat if that makes sense? Very nice. I see a lot of reactions there. Very nice. Interesting. Wow, that's so nice. Right?
I can see some people have raised hands.
Okay.
I would request everybody who's raised hands would have a question or something. Please type it in the chat. We'll take it up one by
Sure.
one.
Correct. All right. So what we'll do now, we'll do a very quick small exercise. All right. You can open any AI tool. If you are on a laptop, open it there. If you're on a mobile phone, open it there. You know, anywhere you want, you open any tool, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok, anywhere. All right. And let's write a small prompt. Write a short paragraph explaining why teamwork is important in organizations. I'll come to that, Sriram. How does it know when to stop predicting the next word? I'll answer that question. Can we simply open a small AI tool, any AI tool on your mobile, on your laptops, anywhere where we write a small prompt which says, write a short paragraph explaining why teamwork is important in organizations. Sriram, as I said, I'll answer that question quickly once we are into this exercise. So once you have written that, please give me a thumbs up, or we'll understand that a lot of people have written that, and then we'll move to the next part of this exercise. Interesting, nice. So all the people who have written this, let's move to the part 2. What we do is, in the same chat, all right, in the same chat, write the same line again. Write a short paragraph explaining why teamwork is important in organizations, and again click on generate the answer. Let's try to do that again. On the same chat, I would recommend you write the exact same line again and generate the answer. Let me know once you are done with that. And all the people who have already done this, if you can write it on the chat, if your answer was exactly same or different or very different, so that we understand, whether our thesis, what we just spoke about, is actually on track. The answer that you got, is it exactly the same, or is it different, or is it very different? Very different, different. I see that. No different, 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 same. So somebody who has written same, no different, can you please check if the wordings are exactly the same, or the connotation is different, tone is different, the words being used are different? I see a lot of people saying different, a lot of people saying very different. Slightly different is again, I'm getting a lot. Very nice. So, coming back to the questions which we just spoke about some time back. Very nice. I see same, different, united we stand, words are different. So now coming back to the same question which we were talking about earlier, right? They understand questions like us and think like humans. Second is, it searches the internet and tries to copy information. And third was, they predict patterns in the language based on the training data that they have received. And the fourth was, they retrieve answers based on storage in their massive databases, right? Now, if the answer was basis massive databases, the answer would have been exactly the same. But over here, we see that the answer is either similar or different or very different, right? So I believe all of us now agree that, the retrieval from massive database is out of question. Because if it was a retrieval from massive database, the answer would have been almost similar or exactly the same. Not very different to some people. Some text is different, right? Similarly, if it was searching the internet real time, right, what would have happened is, it would have copied similar answer. Again, that is not the case. And if it was thinking like humans, right, a lot of things which were contextually not available would not be available. So that means if you give it a question where the answer is not available at all, right, it would not be able to think and come up with that answer, right? So if it is not able to understand a question like a human being sometimes doesn't understand a question, it would not be able to give an answer at all. Have you ever seen AI not giving an answer at all? Have you ever seen in your case that AI has never given an answer at all, right? So AI always tries to give an answer, right? So if you actually understand what is the underlying engine or what is happening, it is AI is just trying to continuously predict what should be the next word, what should be the next word, what should be the next word. And basis that, it keeps on giving you sentences and paragraphs. Does that make sense to everybody? So it is not searching the internet real time. Now there are certain AI engines which give you web search option, right? This is a capability which has been developed where you write a prompt to select an option of search it on the website currently or do live browsing, and that also powers live browsing, but that is just an additional thing. The answer is still predictive, all right? And Now I believe everybody's answer to the first question would be similar or same, which is C. AI is just basically continuously predicting what should be the next word. If everybody agrees, give me a thumbs up in the chat, please. That AI is just continuously predicting, and we will keep improving it over this session and the coming sessions also. Very nice. Now coming to a interesting question which was asked some time back. When does AI know to stop predicting? Right? Because this is very important. So what happens is, whenever AI predicts a word, whenever AI generates a response, right? It tries to take that response, map it against the question and see if the answer has been achieved till a certain confidence level. What happens is, AI works on a concept of confidence level. Now, let's say, for example, if your question is, who is the Prime Minister of India? And can you tell me a bit about his background? Right? Now, the moment you write this and AI starts predicting the words, what happens is it continuously tries to map this answer with the question and sees if my answer is 80-85% right. It is confident that 80-85% of the answer is as per the expectation of the question. It will stop predicting further. Every AI engine has a different confidence level. All right. A model on ChatGPT, which is latest model, its confidence level will be different. A previous model's confidence level will be different. Your context in the ChatGPT or Claude will also, change the confidence level of the program. For example, if I continuously talk to ChatGPT in such a way where I am okay with 85% right answers, 70% right answers, and I move to my next question continuously, ChatGPT understands that Nicky as a user is okay with 85% confidence. That means whenever its answer is 85% as per the expectation, it will give that and stop the prediction further. Sriram, does that answer your question? Please reply yes in the chat if that answers your question, or anybody else who had the similar doubt. So there is a concept of confidence level in all the engines. We will talk about that also in our coming sessions, right? Where we will mold our prompt in such a way that it will take more and more accurate input and expect a more accurate output out of all the AI engines. Does that make sense?